All right, our mics are live. Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on this Tuesday, May 10th. We're excited to have you with us for this Small Business Boot Camp. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services here at the Arizona Commerce Authority. We'd like to start these off by first thanking all of our community partners. We could not do these presentations without their time, their effort, and their expertise. This is just a quick sample of our many community partners. We have over 120 have helped with the boot camps over the last 2 years. And so again, we are very appreciative of their time and their effort. For those new to the boot camp, we like to share some information about it. First, it's designed to help small businesses prepare, plan, and grow as we move forward. It is a statewide initiative supported by all of our community partners. And not only is it our Tuesday morning webinar that we do every week, it is a content library and a series of workshops. So we'll talk about those real quick. The workshop piece, we just had a workshop last Friday on accessing capital to grow your business, and that is available in our content library. The content library is where we house all of our webinars that we record. We record every webinar, and then we save them and house them in our content library on our bootcamp website. You can go into that content library and sort by different categories. You can see the sample list of those categories on the screen and find the sessions, the previous sessions that will best help you with your business needs. We have over 200 recorded webinars on there, and we also have our workshops that we've done with the Department of Revenue and the one we did last Friday with the Phoenix Business Journal and a number of other participants such as Wells Fargo, REDW, their accounting firm, law firm of Gallagher and Kennedy, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, and the SBDC. So it was a very good workshop. As I mentioned with the workshops, we're going to be doing those about once a quarter, trying to squeeze one in even a little more often than that to help bring some additional content in a workshop style to everyone that wants to attend. Our quarterly workshop with the Phoenix Business Journal is in person and virtual. So if you want to attend in person on our next one, that date will be in August, and we'll be getting information out about that soon. So with that, we want to jump and look at some of the other programs that the Arizona Commerce Authority has for small businesses. Just want to touch real quick. We have our small business services, our workforce division, and our MEP, our manufacturing extension partnership. These divisions are designed to help small businesses in these various different categories to help you grow and expand your business. Additionally, for those entrepreneurs looking to start a business or expand your business into a new area or new product line, you can leverage our small business checklist. This is designed to start, operate, and grow your business. And it just helps entrepreneurs understand the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance needs for your business at the local, state, and federal level. It is a great resource, so please jump on for very quick questions regarding that stuff. You can see we have a little virtual assistant on our checklist, Sally. You can click on her and she can help quickly go through some of the basic stuff with licensing. So with that, we want to touch on a couple updates. These are kind of time sensitive. So we wanted to touch on the Back to Work Hiring and Retention Program 2.0 or round 2 was announced by the governor. He added another additional $5 million to that program. However, that ends really soon. I believe it ends on the 13th of this month. So you have a few days left for that. We'll post the link for the program access. We are not running that program, but it is the governor's office. But in the application portal, under the contact information, you'll have the email address for the team that is running that grant. And then also for those interested, the Tucson Metro Chamber is hosting a business summit and expo this week on Thursday. We're going to post a link for that. There's a great lineup. So even though you might not be in Tucson, it's the lineup and the training and education piece that they put together is fantastic. So if you can make it, it'll be a great event to go to. I will be down there for it as well. So I'm excited to visit that event on Thursday. So with that, we'll look at our upcoming sessions for our webinars. On Tuesday, May 17th, we have Where You Are and Where You Want to Be. We've got a great presenter. David Rafidi is teaching that session, presenting that session. He's done it before. It's a great session to identify some of the gaps, personal and business gaps that are in your business, to help you overcome those and reach the place in your business where you really want to be. And then on Tuesday, May 24th, we're going to go over 5 cybersecurity tips to avoid being hacked. And we've got Mark Kirsten and Timothy Hay presenting that session. Then on Tuesday, May 31st, we're going to talk about some barriers to growth. This is a multi-part series with Donna Hoover. She's the chief strategist from Mighty Underdogs, an extremely accomplished lady with great information. So we're really excited to have her present multiple pieces over the next month and a half from her expert programming that she has. And then that following Tuesday is also your growth formula that she will be presenting as well. So we've got a great lineup coming up over the next month. We hope you can join us for those. But until then, we got to jump into today's session. Today, we got Pedro Alvarez from Prestamo CDFI. He's a business advisor for marketing and event services. And we're going to be talking about bookkeeping and making it easy for small businesses. As we all know, small businesses have enough going on and pulling each owner very thin. So making the bookkeeping piece as easy as possible is great. So Pedro's going to talk about some tools and resources to help you with that. So Pedro, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and turn the time over to you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Robert, can you see that on your end?
Good.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much to you and the ACA for having us here today to be able to connect with the small business owners and entrepreneurs and provide, assistance with this. So thank you all for joining today's workshop, which is Bookkeeping 101. I am your presenter, Pedro Alvarez, and as Robert had said, I am a business advisor with CPLC, Prestamo CDFI. I also am the Director of Marketing and Event Services for Lucero Consulting Group. If you'd like to connect with me, my email is down below, pedro.alvarez@cplc.org. You're more than welcome to shoot me an email if you have any questions pertaining to what we are discussing today, or if you need any other sort of assistance, please reach out. We'd be more than happy to help. Okay. So before we get into the blueprint to success, which is for bookkeeping, can anybody tell me, and you're more than welcome to use the chat feature here, if anybody is aware with what bookkeeping is? And I'll give you guys a couple seconds here to put that in the chat. So does anybody have any idea on what is bookkeeping and how it pertains to your business? Don't be shy. Well, let's see, tracking all the basic. Let's see, keeping track of the finances, daily cash flow now. So yes, the bookkeeping question is creating the right chart account. So yes, essentially bookkeeping is basically the recording of all of the financial transactions that happen within your business, right? Versus accounting. Accounting goes further in depth into a part of bookkeeping in terms of your finances, but really bookkeeping is a simpler version of just kind of keeping track of what goes in and out. And then I do want to, just as a disclaimer, I just want to say what we're going to talk about today are a couple different programs and platforms and softwares. I and I have not been paid by any of them. This is just my personal experience through our company. We have implemented one of these, and our experience with them has been fantastic. So I don't want to, try to persuade you into buying a product or anything of that nature, but I just wanted to provide you with my experience and that resource should you want to pursue it, okay? So we just talked about a little bit about what is bookkeeping. So as I mentioned, bookkeeping is very simple. It's basically just keeping track of all of the financial transactions. So payroll, expenses, it's all of those things that go into, your taxes at the end of the year, your profit and loss, all of that is what bookkeeping is. So why is it important? So I identified that there are 3 really important reasons why you should have implemented already, if you haven't, bookkeeping into your business. So 1, it'll help you identify the goals and the growth, right? So without having a bookkeeping system in place or a way to record those financial transactions, you're really not able to sit and really analyze if you've met any goals for yourself or for your business, and you can't really tell easily if your business has grown, right? I mean, you can, but it's just going to take a lot of time, and it might get a little bit overwhelming. So implementing a system, which we will talk about in a little bit, is going to help alleviate the stress of having to manually figure what those numbers look like, what was paid for, what wasn't, so on and so forth. The second one is making business decisions. So just like growth, right? This ties into that. So if you need to expand, or if you actually need to do the opposite, and instead of expanding, you're actually downsizing, right? Those, the bookkeeping platform actually helps make those decisions, or not makes those decisions, but it helps you kind of guide you in where you need to go. If you're wanting to expand, let's say you have a restaurant and you're wanting to expand, and you say, okay, well, I want to have 2 other additional locations. Well, you kind of have to go back and look at what were my expenses for the first one, what was my profit for the first one, what were those taxes, what did that look like, to give you a better understanding on whether or not you should do that. And then the last one is legal and taxes. This one is the daunting one that nobody ever wants to talk about, and we kind of all just know that it's there, but we put it in the back of our minds and we don't really want to talk about it because it is daunting, right? When we talk about legal and when we talk about taxes. The great thing is when you have a bookkeeping system in place, it helps alleviate the process and the stress that goes with it. And I'm going to explain a little bit into the presentation as to why, and you'll see in a second. So there are multiple, and just there's such a long list of bookkeeping platforms out there. These are some of the most either well-known or common ones out there. So as we all know, QuickBooks is the most recognized bookkeeping platform, right? Then we have ZipBooks, we have Hurdler, which is the one that my company has implemented. We have other options such as using an Excel sheet. Mac has its own version, free version of what an Excel would be. And then you have a Google Drive, right? So these are all of the ones, I mean, like I said, there's more, but these are a couple of the ones that are out there. The one that we are going to be talking about today is Hurdler, which is the one with the little green box here and the little eyes. Like I said, QuickBooks is very, very well known, but we're going to dive into QuickBooks and Hurdler and compare them side by side. So that way, you get a better understanding of what works for your business, and then, you can kind of decide which one you want to look into. So the pros, right, of these 3 here, so the Excel, the Mac, and the Google Drive. So they're free for the most part. And the reason why I say for the most part is because if you obviously are going to use a Mac, you need to purchase a Mac, right? But these here, if you're looking for something inexpensive, if you're looking for something where you don't have to pay a monthly subscription for, if you are just starting out and you're just needing very simple bookkeeping, I would recommend not going out of your way to then spend money on a platform, a monthly subscription. I would say start with one of these. And they are very easy to use, and they do have templates, especially Excel. They do have templates that you can just pop in from their platform over into your computer. But unlike the other ones, you do need to enter everything manually. So you don't have the option to kind of make everything automatic and just kind of, be hands off. So there's really, if you're looking for something where you can integrate it into your everyday life in terms of your business, then these may not be the best fit for you, right? And then the other big con to having these is that definitely in Excel, if you enter any formulas or if you enter just the wrong character in a box, it can throw off your entire spreadsheet, right? So you may have had 6 months worth of data in there, and it may all get jumbled with this, just entering the wrong number or the wrong character into that. So just things to keep in mind. Does anybody have any questions as of now? And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. We can move on. So if you haven't seen an Excel, this is basically what an Excel will look like, right? So like I said, from those three platforms, the Excel, the Mac, and the Google Drive, you're going to see something like this. So you go ahead and you enter everything in here manually. Like I said, if you accidentally enter the wrong number or character, that may throw off your entire subtotal or end number here. So with QuickBooks, it is widely used. So QuickBooks, like I said, as you know, is absolutely everywhere, right? So that's the good thing, is that they are everywhere. It does connect with your bank account, it does track your mileage, and it does do tax liability. But on the other hand, it is a bit not user-friendly from what I have experienced myself and spoken with other small business owners. And what I mean by it's not user-friendly is QuickBooks actually has multiple different versions of their product. So for example, there is one version of QuickBooks where you can use it on a desktop only. And then there's another version of QuickBooks where you can use it only on like the go, like on your phone or whatever it is. And those are not interchangeable. So if you have a platform, if you purchase a QuickBooks platform that is specific just for your desktop, that is the only place where you can truly use it. Versus other platforms like Hurdler, which we will talk about, you can actually integrate that into your everyday life. You can use it on the phone, you can use it wherever. But QuickBooks just has way too many different QuickBook types that it can, if you're not experienced with QuickBooks, it can make it really challenging and very frustrating. It also can get pretty expensive really quick. Again, QuickBooks is great if you are a big, I want to say if you're, mid to large company, or if you have somebody who is designated to it, who is experienced in it, because it is going to require you to be in there pretty often. The other thing that I have found is that there are very few individuals who are able to quickly and efficiently assist with QuickBooks. There seems to be a lack of expertise around QuickBooks. So when you are looking for assistance with maybe something that has to do with payroll or any sort of other bookkeeping within the platform, it's not as easy to find that resource. I'm just going to look over here. I also use Wave. Yes, I've heard of Wave. Wave is great as well. In terms of free software, Wave is pretty good. That is correct. Yeah. So like Scott says, you know, there are other things like Wave, which I didn't include in here, but Wave is another one that you can definitely use. AC, are you able to share a template of the spreadsheet? And AC, did you mean the one that we just talked about, the Excel spreadsheet? Is that the one you were? Okay. What do you recommend? Sarah, would you recommend using a POS for bookkeeping? So Sarah, when you do you currently have a POS system? And if so, which one? And the reason I ask is because there is one that I know of. I believe it's Square. Square does integrate bookkeeping. Yep, Square does integrate bookkeeping, a portion of bookkeeping with you know, that point of sale and all of your transactions. So that I think that's fine. I think if you have that in place, you don't need to do anything else unless your business is now grown and you're needing other features that maybe Square does not offer. But for the time being, I think that's fine. That's a way of record keeping. So again, this is if you don't have QuickBooks, this is what QuickBooks looks like. So when you go into one of the versions, for the most part, they're all going to look the same. It's going to give you bank accounts, your expenses, your invoices, your profit and loss, all that good stuff. It will be in there. It is just going to be a matter of user experience and you know, maneuvering through the platform. Again, this is just another example of what QuickBooks looks like. Again, it can be a little daunting just because there's so much on there. So if you are not someone who is familiar with QuickBooks, or if you are not experienced with QuickBooks and you are just a small business starting out, or even if you've been in business, but you know, you're just wanting something simple, I would maybe reconsider with one of the other options like Hurdler that we're going to talk about, because this can be overwhelming and very frustrating. And like I said, the cost of QuickBooks, it's not cheap. I believe last I checked, it was for the year, I don't know if it was like $200 or something. I think it's changed since I last did this, but it is pretty expensive. So Hurdler, the pros to Hurdler, it is actually widely used. So even though it's not talked about often, it is something that is used often, but it's just not presented often because QuickBooks kind of takes over the spotlight. You can connect your bank account. It does track mileage. It tracks the tax liability. It does invoicing, and then there's an app. So a lot of similar features like QuickBooks, which is great. The only difference is pricing. So with pricing, which I will talk about in a bit, it's actually much more affordable for you. And I know that as a small business, right, if we can get something cheaper, that's a huge win because we already deal with very high expenses and everything that comes with running or owning your own business. So basically same features. It's super easy to use. It's very, very user friendly. There's not all of that zhuzh, I guess, that QuickBooks has. So it's very to the point. So there is a little bit of a learning curve. And then the other thing is that it does require your review. And I put that on the con side, but really with all booking platforms, whether it's an Excel sheet, whether it's QuickBooks, or whether it's Hurdler, or whether it's Wave, or whatever it is that you're using, you always want to make sure that you are reviewing those documents either monthly, quarterly, or whatever have you. But I would recommend really going in there, no matter what platform you're using, to go in and review to make sure that your numbers are adding up. What happens is if you wait too long, it's going to become very difficult, even with a bookkeeping platform in place, to really figure out what your numbers truly are, because now you have to go back in time. Okay, so best practice, always go in no matter what software you're using to make sure that you are reviewing your expenses, your income, coding things correctly, and so forth. So like we talked about, it does link with all of your financial accounts, right? So you can link your PayPal, you can do your regular credit union, Bank of America, Square. So I think it was, let's see, Sarah. So Sarah, you have Square. You can actually link your Square to Hurdler to give you a more in-depth that in-depth level and understanding to that bookkeeping, and things do become a bit more organized in there. So no matter what institution you're currently using for your bank account or anything like that, Stripe, whatever it is, you can integrate all of those into this platform here. You can track everything. The great thing about this is, and I don't think that many small businesses or entrepreneurs do this often because it's an afterthought, because it's something so small, is we forget to actually track our expenses or mileage. So let's see, what about Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle? From Beverly. So Beverly, yes, you can. You can, I don't know about the Cash App. I don't think Cash App, but you can tie in the other ones into Hurdler, yes. So I hope that answers that question. So we forget to track our mileage, and that is a big thing. So whenever we're doing something for work, whenever it's related to our business, it becomes kind of not, or what's the word? It doesn't really become part of our norm to say, oh, I went to such and such place, it was this many miles, and let me enter that into my tracker. So what happens is, if you have the app, the Hurdler app, you can actually have it on auto tracking, and you can turn it on or off, right? So if you get in your car, it will know that once you start driving, it needs to track your mileage. And if you don't want it to do that, you can just switch it off. But the great thing is that if you're driving around for work, you go to a meeting or you're doing a pickup related to your job or your business, it will track your start location, your end location, the time it took you to get there. It'll also then calculate the mileage and the miles from and to, and then it'll give you a price or a expense or a number on how much you may get back when you file your taxes. So again, it really is keeping everything in order for you, and it really takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, right? So if you haven't been doing this, whether with Hurdler or QuickBooks or any other platform, make sure that you are keeping track of little things like your mileage, because they will pay off later when you do your taxes, because that is a deduction. You then also get real-time profit. So if you connect your bank account, as money is coming in and money is going out, the app is actually updating in real time. So if you have a $5 expense, it will reflect that in there. So you can just log on to the app or log on to the desktop version. And when you log in, it'll tell you, this is how much money you've made, and this is how much money you've made after and before tax, right? It'll give you a breakdown of everything. So that is actually really cool. Before we implemented Hurdler, we actually used an Excel sheet, and then we transitioned over into the Google Drive. And even though that was okay as our business grew, it became very difficult to make sure that we were keeping track of all of those things accurately, right? So now we just log on and we see that everything is in real time, and that's pretty awesome. The taxes, this is a big one. It actually tells you how much, or it estimates how much taxes you will owe at the end of the year, which is great. So it'll give you a breakdown just as you see here. And it'll give you how much you owe to the state, how much you owe to the federal government, how much you owe in, personal, so on and so forth, all of that. So again, it's not 100% when it comes to total owed, but it does give you a very close estimate. And the reason I say estimate is because once you actually go and file your taxes, there may be things in there that your tax advisor may have you change, or they may say, oh wait, let's recode this, or whatever have you. So that may change a bit, but for the most part, it is a very good close estimate. And then it gives you an idea of how much money you're going to have to either save up or put aside for this. So it really helps you navigate financially your business throughout the year. Just a backstory, when we filed taxes our very first year, we didn't have Hurdler or any really platform other than just an Excel sheet. And we were not fully aware of the financial path that we were truly on. So when we went to file taxes, it was a shocker as to what was owed. So once we've implemented this now that we've done taxes again and again, it really takes the shock out of, oh, this is how much you'll owe, because now we have a better understanding. We talked about mileage, so it does give you a little map, like I said, to and from, so that's really cool. This is another neat feature that I like. So instead of you actually printing out documents, putting them all in a folder, taking them to your CPA, to your tax advisor, all of that, you can simply just add them to the Hurdler platform, and they will only see tax-related things. So they won't be able to see all of the nitty-gritty, all of the things that are on the personal or confidential side. They're only going to be able to see things that are related to taxes. So that, I know sometimes people worry like, oh my God, they're going to have access to my account. They won't have access to your account. They will only have access to see tax-related things, and they can't change any of it. All they can do is view and print. And then it has a start date. So you can only set it to a certain month or certain day of the year, and then they can just look at what you basically send them. And it really eliminates having to just drag in a bunch of papers, and maybe you brought in the wrong document, so you have to kind of go back home and kind of redo things. This really helps in terms of utilizing your time efficiently, so that you're not having to spend either hours on end or multiple days having to go back and forth between you and your tax advisor, your CPA. This really just lets them take care of it, and then they send you the final. So similar to QuickBooks, this is what the homepage looks like. So like QuickBooks, it had kind of all the similar things, but as you could see, it's much simpler, right? So the list on the side over here, where the home is, right under the hurdler name, it's much simpler. Depending on the package that you pick, you may get a couple extra, but it's very, very simple to navigate. And you can just click on each one of those and it gives you all the information you need. When it comes to reporting, so again, that bookkeeping, this is where you'll be able to really dive into to see all of your expenses, all of your income, all of that stuff. And all you have to do is you basically go into reports, you go into the one you want to see, and then you just click view. So if you have expenses by a vendor, there you go. If you have expenses by a client, there you go. If there is personal expenses, so sometimes this happens where you may ended up using your business account to pay for something, and now you're freaking out and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? No worries. What'll happen is when the expense comes through, which is right over here under expenses, when that goes through, what you'll do is you'll just categorize that expense as a personal. And so it'll go into a personal report, and it will not go into the business reporting. So when your tax advisor does file or prepare your taxes, they will be able to see what was personal and what was an actual business expense. Okay, so this is why having a system in place is very beneficial, because if you didn't have this in place, it would take a lot of explaining, and you would have to pull receipts, and you would have to really think about how you're going to explain something that should have never been in there, right? So this really helps divide that up and create a clear picture for the IRS and your tax advisor. Invoicing. So how many of you do invoicing? And if you do, can you put in the chat, do you do it manually where you're creating a template and then you send it off, or do you use something like Square? Can you guys tell me how are you doing your invoicing right now? The invoicing tool in Wave, okay. Square. Manual Excel. Okay. And do you guys find with Square, with Wave, do you guys find that those are easy for you guys to kind of maneuver? Like, do you guys have flexibility in terms of what your business is needing with invoicing? Yeah. Mapping into the invoices and reconciling payments with banks except when reconciling with fees. Okay, perfect. And then what about the individuals who said manually or Excel? Do you guys find that that is, how do you guys feel when you guys have to sit there and do it manually? Is it time consuming? Is it easy? What are your guys' thoughts? Time consuming, easy when the template is ready. Yeah, yeah. So like Scott mentioned, and a couple other participants mentioned, they kind of go through the platform that they use, whether their POS or their bookkeeping platform. And so this is why it is important, right, Joanna and AC, is to have, whether you use Wave, whether you use QuickBooks or Square or whatever it is important to have these things in place, because it is so time consuming to have to sit there and create an invoice and send that invoice out. Before Lucero Consulting actually implemented this platform, we were spending, or I guess I should say I was spending, because I did all of our and still do all of our admin and payroll and invoicing. I spent 2.5 to 3 hours every month putting together invoices for clients. And that just took a lot of time. And so once we implemented a system, it became much easier. I was able to complete invoicing within 30 minutes to like 45 minutes. It's actually much less, but it just depends on, how many things we're adding in there in the description. But it's very, very easy once you actually implement something like this. It allows for you now to focus on things that actually matter instead of having to, sit there and input everything by hand. And yeah, like AC said, when the template is ready, it makes it much easy. But when it's not, you kind of have to go back and redesign everything and kind of, change things around. So just like with the other platforms that everyone else was talking about with Hurdler, it's kind of the same thing. So you basically have your company logo, you have your address, you have the client's information, all of that stuff. The great thing I like about this is a lot of this is already pre-set for you. So you enter all of your clients into the system, or you can enter them as they go. And so if you have repeat clients, you just select their name or the company or the organization, and it already pulls up all their information for you. So you're no longer, if you have repeat clients, you're no longer having to type in, for example, like you see on the screen, Kristen Cunningham over and over and over again, right? Or if you only have the one template, but you need to change it from Kristen Cunningham to Pedro Alvarez, you now have Pedro Alvarez in the system, and you also have Kristen Cunningham in the system with their information. So that's the great thing. The other thing that is pretty awesome about this is you can go ahead and input the services that you provided. So if it's something like design, you can put in whatever description, you can type it out however you want. You can then enter quantities if you're selling a product. If not, you would just keep it at 1. And then what it does is it calculates automatically the pricing for it. So if you say, my service was X amount of dollars per hour, you would then enter what that is, and then it would give you the total price here, and then it would calculate it over on the other side of the page where you see total and balance. And then if for whatever reason you need to offer a discount, or if you're running a promotion, you can enter that in there and it will calculate everything for you. The other thing is, as some of you know, you probably have this with the current system that you do use, you can simply just hit credit card or cash or check. And then there's another option here, which it's not on here, but there's another option where you can actually just have them put their credit card if they're a repeat customer or client, put their credit card or their information in there, so that every month, if they are on a retainer or what have you, the system will just charge them automatically. It'll send them an invoice and then charge it automatically. So that's the great thing about this. The other thing is you can set due dates. So if you are a net 15 or a net 30 or a net 7 days or whatever it is, you can customize it and it'll let them know when it is due. The other thing that I like about this is, aside from using a manual version or an Excel spreadsheet or one of those templates, this one actually has, excuse me, this one actually has a way to integrate your logo. And so when you get the actual, or when the client gets the actual invoice email, what'll happen is it'll show up in this very pretty, very well-made template. and it'll have all of your branding colors already in the email. So once they open up that email, all they have to do is just click pay, and it'll take them straight to the portal where they pay. That is it, right? And so it's the whole, and I don't have a picture in here, my apologies, but the entire email is basically branded with all of your company colors, all of your branding, it's all in there. And all you have to do is simply upload your logo, and then the system will pull everything else and complete the branding for you. So with the pricing, so this again, I'm not selling you on anything. I don't actually get commission off of any of this. I just want to give you information so that you know there is a free option, which is a great way to just try out the product. You lose nothing by just going on there and using a free option and just seeing if you even like the way that it works. I would recommend that. That's kind of what we did. We tried it out. We really liked it. And so we then moved forward with upgrading to get a bit of the other features that it comes with. And then if you didn't know, things like this, so QuickBooks, Hurdler, whatever it is, they are tax deductible. So if you're thinking, I'm gonna have to pay money for this, just remember that it is a tax deduction. So a couple tips: separate your finances. So if you do have a bookkeeping system in place, make sure that you are not using your personal account for your business. Make sure that they are separate because it creates a headache later on. Having something like this will definitely help separate your personal and your business expense. So like I said, if you accidentally use your business account for something personal, you can code it correctly and there won't be any issues there, versus kind of, not doing that. Select and implement a bookkeeping software. So whether it's Hurdler, whether it's QuickBooks, Excel, Wave, whatever it is, right? Please implement a bookkeeping software, because that is going to help you in the long run. It's gonna just alleviate a lot of stress and headache for you that you may not think you may face now, but down the line, come tax season, maybe there is an issue with one of your employees, and so you have to pull reports for expenses or whatever have you. It's going to save you a ton of headache, a headache later on. You can save on Hurdler, and I believe on QuickBooks as well. You can actually save your receipts digitally. So I'm big on saving them. Saving the actual hard copy. I like to have those, but the great thing is you could actually just take a picture of that, and then you can go ahead and upload it to that expense, and then it sits there. So if you ever get questioned about absolutely anything, you can simply just pull that report up, and then it'll have the receipt that goes along with it. And same thing for invoicing, which I forgot to mention. If you send out an invoice to a client for X amount of dollars, and let's say you ended up paying for an expense up front, and you're going to get reimbursed by the client because you are, going to charge them, you can actually take the receipt of what you paid, included, and scan it in by taking a picture on the app, and put it into the invoice and attach that invoice into there. And so again, if anybody ever questions anything, why are you charging me so much? What happened? You now are able to save all of those receipts in there digitally if you don't want to have a paper copy. And same thing, if you get emails instead of paper, you can upload a digital copy into there digitally. Check and update your records often. So go in there every month. I would recommend going in there monthly. But if you're someone who maybe doesn't have the time, then I would definitely say don't go more than 6 months without checking your financial records and all of the things that are inside of the the software that you are using. So make sure that you are going in there and making sure that all of your numbers look correct, that things are getting coded correctly. If you wait too long to code or to kind of stay on top of it, it is going to be definitely a struggle. I've worked with clients where they haven't really done bookkeeping. They've been in business for 2 to 3 years. And so now they're asking for a loan, or they're asking, for some capital. And now they want to see what's your profit and loss, what are your expenses, what's your income, so on and so forth. And what happens is we now have to go back 2 or 3 years or even a year to really figure out what those numbers are. And it just really is very time consuming. And if you're looking for, access to capital and funding and all these things, you're going to want to get that as soon as possible and not have a delay. So making sure that these things are set beforehand will help you later down the road, and it'll help you with any success. So thank you all. If you have any questions, please feel free to continue to put them in the chat. I will be on here for a couple more minutes. If not, my email is here. You can always email me as well if you do have questions. But if not, thank you. And, I wish you guys all the success in the world with your businesses. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you, Pedro. We do have one question in the Q&A. It says, what about cash apps like Venmo or Zelle?
Yes. So I think I had answered that one earlier, but
okay.
I don't think I don't think it takes Cash App, but Venmo and Zelle, yes. So you can integrate those into that platform. But I don't think that it would really do the Cash App, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, will I need anything additional to Hurdler, or will it cover all I need for a startup business? So Judy, with Hurdler, it's going to cover, depending on the package you choose, so it's going to cover everything that you need in terms of bookkeeping for your business. So if you are still needing things like a payroll system or any of that kind of stuff, that's going to be separate. But in terms of making sure that your financial transactions are being recorded accurately and correctly, then Hurdler will actually help definitely with taking care of a lot of those things.
Also, Judy, if you're looking to start it, you're in the process of starting a business, or you're going to be starting soon, you might reach out to Pedro or the rest of the team members at CPLC and the Women's Business Center, which falls under their purview as well, for some no-cost business counseling to help make sure you get all those things lined up properly. It's a lot easier to set it up properly from the start than to try to fix it afterwards. So they can help with that as well.
Yeah, thank you for that, Robert, because that is very true. It's much easier if you are starting, or if you're thinking of starting a business, it is much easier for you to get the help and assistance and counseling now, and ask all the questions that you need to ask and kind of be guided in the right direction, then implement practices that you think you may need, or spend X amount of funds only to find out that maybe there was not an easier option, but an option that works best for you. So yeah, good observation there. Does Hurdler have an option to set yourself up as an accountant similar to QBO? So yes, you do. You can set yourself up as an accountant if you would like to.
Excellent. Well, I don't see any other questions popping up. So we will go ahead and wrap up, give everybody a few minutes back to their day, or to make their transition to the next meeting that they may have. But Pedro, thank you for your time and the presentation. Excellent information. And again, everybody, this was being recorded. It'll be posted on our boot camp website along with the slide deck that Pedro used. So you can access that slide deck if you need to go back and look at something that'll be available later today. With that, we just want to remind you to please join us next Tuesday for our next session. Until then, have a great week, and we will talk with you soon. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.